In this video, we will recap the darkest day in World of Warcraft history. So, be advised, this is not for the faint of heart.
Interviewing Tiny Violin, the fifth horseman, on Classic WoW. He already made history.
Big.
He did. He's made history.
7/11, the day the Earth stood still. The day that
Oh, it was.
36 very brave hardcore champions were killed in what can only be called an act of hardcore terrorism.
True.
Chat, today we have the opportunity to sit down with one of Classic WoW's biggest villains. The man that recently wiped the entire 40-man hardcore raid roster, Tiny Violin. First
40, man. I thought it's 27. Oh, no.
off, Mr. Tiny Violin, thank you for making the time for this interview. We've been trying to set this up for a couple days. I know you've got a very busy work schedule. How was your day at work today?
It was good. Before we start, though, I'd like to give you a brief introduction for those people out there who don't know me.
Okay.
Please, okay.
Here we go.
So in Classic, I
Yeah, this one was an inside job too, by the way.
was wronged out of Scarblord and ATM.
Dude, I was waiting until the inside jobs start. Because what are you going to do in Classic Hardcore? What are you going to do? If you're done with the game and you're bored, you know what you're doing. You know what you're trying to accomplish. You know how you're going out like a hero. Like a dark hero.
Yes.
Wait,
And then created 16
what?
So in Classic, I was wronged out of Scarblord and ATS.
There it is. That's right.
Then created 16 accounts
So this is the villain backstory.
for opposite
Bruh.
faction PvP. Dispelling buffs is an intended Blizzard mechanic.
No, it's not. Kevin Jordan literally didn't even know that the buffs were dispellable. He literally said it wasn't. The world buffs, he said they weren't, but that's fine. It's fine. But just to clarify.
Saw him, I then played with a Blizzard employee named Wolfjob, so he confirmed I was a driving factor in Chrono Boon. So anyone who likes Chrono Boon has me to thank for it.
Ooh.
After Classic, I kept playing Vanilla since it's my favorite expansion, private servers, Seasons of Mastery, and eventually I found Hardcore.
Yeah, he wasn't dispelling. It wasn't about the buffs. It was about sending a message.
It's always
To
about
60 in
that.
Hardcore, and I played with HE Elite for about a year. I made friends with a lot of people in the guild, and I was one of the reasons they got so far. Without me, Locks weren't putting up curses, there was no Fairy Fire, there was no
Wow.
IEA. Some
How
Warriors
the fuck do these people not know how to play the game? It's a one-button game.
weren't even sundering.
Warriors, what the fuck is going? How are these people, bro? I don't even feel bad anymore. How do you fuck this up?
After every raid, I did a
True.
log review and I helped warriors and mages with their rotation. I mean,
What
the mages didn't
rotation?
even know how Ignite mechanics even worked. And after raids, I played Scriblio with them. I made a lot of friends in the guild.
Uh-huh.
But eventually, I began to see some corruption within the guild. So the rules at the start were
Ah.
Oh, fuck.
So he's the anti-hero of the story. Got it.
The guild was corrupt?
He's the Punisher.
much, much more strict. You couldn't use non-hardcore tunes for help. For example, you can't use a non-hardcore priest for mind control for sun buff. Some of my friends got
I'm just talking, the sun buff is the war chief's blessing.
Yeah.
booted early on for this exact reason. But once AQNX came into the question, more and more people showed up with Ren buff, but they actually refused to explain how they got it. So I actually learned.
So he thinks that because, and also like Tiny Violin, remember his specialty is world buffs. That's like his area. You know, like whenever they bring in, you know, there's like a TLC documentary about something like some pizzeria in New York, and they bring in like a fat guy with a mustache, and he's like his title is cheese, like 1700s cheese expert. Well,
Yeah.
this guy here is classic World of Warcraft.
Usually, though, they're experts at recognizing does American fast food use rat meat or not rat meat. Some of them are even so good they can say the percent of rat meat used in American food.
World buffs expert. So he would know more than anybody else.
A lot of them
True.
had actually died, and they just altered their add-ons to keep playing. The rules were different for different people. So I brought up the Bren buff issue in Discord, and the response from leadership was hardcore server soon. On top of this, the loot was
I
become
mean, realistically,
true.
they can't, like, you can't micromanage what people do outside of raid time, and you can only control, like, what are they gonna say? What are they gonna do if somebody got the Rend Blackhand buff? Like, like, how can you like realistically arbitrate this?
becoming very corrupt. There's
By just kicking and banning everyone, maybe.
leaked audio of Loot Council just stating, I want these items and taking it. The same players who didn't even understand
Is
Ignite
leaked audio? Where is it? But okay.
Nice.
mechanics were in charge of this Loot Council. So tension in H Elite was getting high, people were unhappy. I would call out bad players in Discord and people would praise me, others would hate me. It became polarizing.
Oh,
Man.
no.
We used to have a rule back in the old days that every single night that I would raid lead, someone would quit the guild. It was like a quota.
Eventually, I realized the true spirit of vanilla hardcore was lost.
That's smart, by the way, because, you know, if you're not one of the people who is unfairly distributing the loot that you want, you're not gonna get ahead, you know? Saying, oh, you can have that trinket. Oh, you can have your finally five set, bruh. My bonus is soon, bruh. Your 5 set bonus doesn't top my 0 set bonus, okay? I'm gonna destroy this. I'm gonna burn this all down. I'm gonna tell everyone how the GM's World of Warcraft girlfriend is being a whore to everyone. If I don't get this loot, your 5 set bonus doesn't mean anything to me.
We weren't doing an official hardcore run. None of this would have been possible on an actual hardcore server.
That's true.
Since majority of the guild had actually cheated. I started warning my friends that Judgment Day was near, and I was looking to put
That's smart. Judgment Day.
a stop to what I thought was
Nice.
fake hardcore.
Yeah.
I actually
That
makes
messaged
sense.
all my
Cool.
friends and told them beforehand
Right.
there would be an incident in tonight's snacks.
Ooh.
So
And I actually do have proof of people that were warned. Maybe they didn't believe me, but I can show you off stream some screenshots.
do you tell him like don't come to school today?
Bruh, this is the FBI. Hey, we got this kid who's saying he's gonna do the some of you are cool, don't come to school today. And the FBI's like, I mean, no.
Is that pretty much what he said?
Yeah. That's so good. Oh. Some of you are okay. Don't come to school.
After the wipe, a lot of people were relieved. I got some thank you and I got some death threats. But the corruption
He
didn't
said they were relieved. That's the best part about it.
True.
Finally, we've been released from this torment.
stop there. After a lot of
Gesundheit myself. Thank you.
the HC characters died, they
Yeah.
started entering BGs. They actually died again since the game was over for them. But then Dell had a change of heart and decided to go back into KT. So these people actually told him that they went into BGs and died, but he just brushed it off and just said he wanted to go back into Nax. Like,
Okay.
this was my problem with the situation. It was truly never hardcore. It was a fake accomplishment the entire time.
Oh yeah.
Well, of course it is.
I mean, everyone's a Mitch Jones inside when you actually take enough time.
It's because it's not an accomplishment to begin with, but okay, sure. I mean, that's my perspective on this shit, bro. This game's a joke. It's a one-button game with one-button bosses. Who cares?
True.
But, all right.
Okay, let's unpackage all of that. We're going to do that over the course of this interview. Thank you for showing up once again.
Uh-huh.
Over the last 2 or 3 days, I've seen people dismiss your behavior as you're a depressed, hate-filled, basement-dwelling psychopath. Would you say any of that is true? I'll just throw the question.
Not
Probably,
at all.
yeah.
I'm like the happiest person ever.
That
Oh.
would be true if I was him. Bro,
Yeah.
like, I saw his
Well,
channel.
after that, obviously, but before that, come
He
on.
had 600 viewers.
Pretty
Bro,
good
like, you
stuff.
run an ad at 600 viewers, you make money. You make like over $100. I was never happier in my life than whenever I was griefing people. The one thing that could always bring me joy was somebody else's lack of it.
Yep.
No, I understand this very well.
We
Hey,
play Magic.
I love playing vanilla WoW, and I have a blast doing it.
Okay. I've also seen people calling you the Osama bin
Literal
Laden of
Hitler.
hardcore community, and that you're a
Oh, that makes sense because, like, you know, the 7-Eleven thing.
hardcore terrorist.
9/11.
What's your response to that?
I don't think so. Like,
I mean, he's basically Osama bin Laden. Yeah, I think that, you know, it's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, it's got to be kind of close, right? It's just
Close,
kind of
yeah.
like, it's basically, yeah.
It's not bad, boy.
I was really helpful with the community. Like I mentioned earlier, like I would help them with like log reviews.
Mhm.
I was really helpful with the community. I don't know why they would call me a terrorist.
Okay.
As I said, I don't think he's like a terrorist. So I think he's like a farmer, right? Or like a livestock farmer, where like you raise cattle up
Explain.
and you slaughter them.
Okay.
That's what it really. That's what. It's
So,
really like.
this was not an accident. You were memeing a little bit. You were joking around when you made the comments about being in the wrong corner. This was intentional, yeah?
Probably, yeah.
So
Right?
like even though this is clearly not a brief, but the problem is everyone would try to mass report me. So in my best interest, I had to pretend it was the wrong corner. But Judgment Day was coming, and I talked to a few people I trusted the most, and I had to play it off as a raid accident. But at the end of the day, this was Judgment Day.
So it wasn't really a grief, and this is actually a very good point that he brings up. He wasn't really griefing them; it was just simply Judgment Day.
Yeah.
But, I mean, is that griefing? Well, no. I mean, judges are in real life. Are they griefing people? No. So they're two different things. It's a good point.
Okay, so just to be clear, considering it was Judgment Day, this was not an accident. Judgment Day was premeditated.
Well, it's not griefing. It was just simply, like I said, Judgment Day.
Now everyone in World of Warcraft hardcore will have to take off their shoes before entering Noxermas to just get inspected because of one dude. It's World of Warcraft hardcore is gonna be like EVE Online, where you literally need to go a shrink evaluation before you join a clan because no one can be trusted. You need to sign an NDA that you will not leak your clan's information. You will have to pledge your firstborn that you will never betray the guild. Oh my god.
Yeah. That makes
All
sense.
right, yeah, griefing. That
Right, because it's just like, because griefing. How is? I mean, is God griefing on Judgment Day? No, that's what he does.
word has got a lot of nuance to it. I'm not sure how to define it. I'm sure the word griefing is terminologically in the eye of the beholder. But prior to this raid, you knew that you were going to do this.
So it's I like to give you an analogy. So like like killing a killer. Is it really a bad thing if you kill another killer?
Ah, the hypotheticals.
Man, that's
No.
a deep one. Yeah, now we're talking
No.
ethics of death sentence. You said that other people
Man up
knew
and say no.
in this raid.
That's a very good fucking point. That's it, an eye for an eye, brother. Is it? Yep, there it is. Because
Man
it's
up
again,
and
it's
say
not
no.
griefing. It was just Judgment Day.
They got
It was
what
like
they
kind of-
deserved.
It was something that just
The
needed to
perfect
happen.
gentleman.
It doesn't really matter who did it.
Yeah.
It matters that it happened.
Yeah, you can't wrong the perfect gentleman so many times. No, you know what I'm saying?
That Judgment Day was going to happen. Is that true?
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I can show you screenshots off stream. I warned my friends in the raid that I don't know if they believed me or.
A small violin played the sad song in the hall from Naxxramas. Horseman massacre. Wrong corner. Every man's dead. Never return to life. Stone drink cannot save you. Careful from the yellow light.
Wow.
Not, but they were warned beforehand.
Okay, and so the people that were warned, were these people that you were friends with or that had been kind to you, or did you? How did these people figure out?
Yeah, he
that
told
this
him not
was
to go
going
to school that day. Yeah.
They were just like they were good players. We had a kind of a similar mindset. We wanted to min-max our characters. We wanted to do well. They were just like cool people that I like genuinely enjoyed hanging around.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're not comfortable saying any of these names publicly right now, but you'll show me afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, you don't want to give away that you're co-conspirators. I mean, that's going to make you look bad.
What?
First rule of Fight Club.
Okay. Do you think any of these people you told were sort of on your side and that they were happy that Judgment Day was going to happen? Or were they like, hey, bro, I hope that Judgment Day does not happen? What was their take?
Honestly, I think they were relieved. Like there was a lot of issues with the guild.
Because if you live in a world full of sin, and sin is all around you, and you're forced to live in sin,
Yeah, like in OTK.
there must be a time where you know that Judgment Day is coming, and you offer your body up to God and say, God, please save me in whatever way you deem necessary.
And you get slaughtered. Nice.
With the cheating, people weren't happy about that. The favoritism, how some people got special treatment. Like how can this person do this, but it's not okay for the rest of the community? The loot was super corrupt. Basically, like I guess it might have been mixed feelings for them. Like at the end of the day, like they understood why it was done. Like I believe that they.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's the Old Testament. Like, let's be honest. God is a dick. He's a much bigger asshole than Satan is. But you have to understand that it's part of his plan.
Like everything, yeah.
Needed to be done. Like I'll give you an example. A hunter got badge of the Swarm Guard. He got the choker from AQ40 and badge of the Swarm Guard. Like the loot was like completely fucked. Like I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, so you would say...
I don't think that's a big deal.
I have
Like-
no idea what those items are.
Badge of the Swarm Guard, who cares? The game's so easy, you're going to kill every boss in 20 seconds anyway.
The reason why Judgment Day was necessary is because of corruption within the hardcore elite community and also selective enforcement of the hardcore rules. Is that pretty much why Judgment Day was necessary in your mind?
Yes.
Absolutely, it was
Yeah.
ruining the spirit. Of it.
There it is.
The
It's not-
spirit of hardcore, the spirit of classic. How dare someone defile perfection? The way it was meant, no changes.
It's not real hardcore.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. switching topic here for a minute. Okay, I'll let you go ahead.
Like these players would not survive on a real hardcore server.
Real hardcore server.
Uh-oh.
Damn. This is like natural selection happening now. This is insanity.
So this is like, again, this is like, so he's saying like natural selection.
When did he first get the idea to do Judgment Day? Was it the full year?
Let me ask you this. I've seen some screenshots floating around of Team Muggsy giving you some information regarding this event happening.
Yep.
To what degree is Team Muggsy involved in this?
So Team Muggsy was saying a lot of things like playing flashbang sounds, and he got mad I didn't give him credit. But if you look at the timestamp, he was messaging me 5 minutes before poll. Like he just wanted his 15 minutes of fame.
Oh, so
Nice.
so you're saying Team Muggsy was sort of
So
like,
so people were saying that Team Muggsy was the actual mastermind, but no, he wasn't the mastermind. Tiny Violin was the actual mastermind, and Team Muggsy was just trying to coattail onto there.
Yeah.
latching on to
This is insanity. This is why why school shootings in America are like commonplace. Yeah, this explains so much. This is probably gonna inspire something to happen.
with the Judgment Day after it had already been
Amazing.
planned.
Oh, absolutely. Like someone obviously told him it was about to happen, and so while the raid leader was explaining the fight, he was messaging me on Discord. So like, he like the stuff he was saying, like the flashbang and stuff, like the outcome would have been the same, regardless. What
He says, I think they will trip out when my mob is in the middle of Mal, but whatever, this is the best strat. If you have threat, it will look very normal. They will be very focused on Thane. So taunt, count to 5, move to Thane. Do I stand on Thane? Just be near the stack. Man, they're gonna be so choked. This is gonna be amazing.
When I play hardcore, I'm gonna get killed clicked so hard because I'm out in the first sign of trouble, boys. You can die for the guild. I'm gonna find a new guild.
he messaged me or not.
Okay, I just want to double back for one moment real fast. I'm stepping away from Team Muggsy. So, you said you've been playing in Hardcore Elite for how long? 6 months or so?
Yeah, over 6 months.
Okay, and
It's the
so
better
when
part of a
you
year.
first entered the Hardcore Elite
Sad.
community, was Judgment Day your intention, or did you just feel like it needed to happen after things you had experienced after already being in the community?
Oh no, God,
Poetic,
no. Like when I
poetic.
first joined, like I'm just a vanilla WoW enjoyer.
So he was a good boy,
Yes.
a honest,
Yeah.
just
And the system.
God-fearing,
Yeah.
American Christian world buff dispeller.
Yeah. And then the system chewed him up and spit him out, and he understood what needs to be done.
That had no bad intentions. But when he saw the evil and the
Yes.
sin, in the
How
soul of this
how
community,
power corrupts.
he knew that there had to be divine retribution.
Mm.
All it takes is one bad buff.
I hope God forgives them because I sure won't.
Like I said, it's my favorite expansion. I love WoW. It's just all these things started to happen, and I just, like I said, I just started to realize like it wasn't real hardcore. Like I made friends, and I still plan on playing with some of these people in you know the next iteration, whether it's Psalm 2 or you know official hardcore. But
Bruh.
I just started realizing that this wasn't really hardcore. Like these achievements and accomplishments were meaningless.
Now, let me ask you this. I've seen rumors swirling around that you were actually
Afforded.
financially incentivized to carry out and execute Judgment Day. People are pointing to you receiving a bunch of, I don't know, maybe like 300 gifted subs or so after Judgment Day had been
Nice.
executed. Were you
Well, I don't think that
I'd do it for a piece of cheese.
he was paid off for it. I just think people were happy that it happened. I don't think he was paid off. No way. Sorry, it was a
That's
ant
gonna
got on
be the
my-
next
my
level.
monitor. I had to cut him in half with the scissors, but we got him. It's good.
paid off by someone to do this?
No, I did this because they were ruining the spirit of hardcore and vanilla. Like what they were doing was not right. I even told people not to give me subs because it was never about the money. Like I've been streaming for years. I'm
Never
not a nobody.
about
I'm
the
a small to
money.
medium-sized Twitch streamer.
Yes.
And, I'll give you an example of someone like Crix. For someone like Crix to say I'm a nobody is false. It's never been about getting popular. I actually used to like Crix and I watched his streams, but the guy is going around all over social media. I see him on Reddit, on YouTube videos, every Twitch chat that talks about me.
Damn.
I don't know what I did to him. Maybe he voted for Joe Biden or something and I offended him. But he's going around saying I had no followers before. He's saying I was a nobody. In reality, I already had a decent following. I was a small to medium streamer. Usually had
Let's see.
Ooh.
Apparently, he was on a spider web. I didn't even know this, but I had a spider
is
in
a
my
spider
on
web?
my. He's
Oh.
been living in my monitor. He's dead now.
Tiny violin.
I mean, the thing is, like, he streamed kind of regularly, and he streamed apparently more in
Average.
April 2021.
Oh, average viewers
And-
100. Okay.
I feel like, yeah. I mean, 20 viewers, that's pretty good. And you can see, look at the titles. Death equals Petri. Death equals Petri. Death equals Petri. Nax GDKP diaper run. Let's read some of these more, some more of these titles here. Do we have any other titles? So you can see how he began to get disillusioned. You see how this is? And it was somewhere, like maybe it wasn't 6 months, because he put death equals delete, but then something happened where it was death equals Petri.
True.
Around 100 viewers during my HC streams. So it's disrespectful for someone to say, you know, oh, he's a nobody streamer. And, you know, it would actually demotivate a lot of small streamers to hear something like that.
Tiny Violin, who are you supporting in the upcoming 2024 U.S. presidential election?
Oh, well, I mean, I'm not a U.S. citizen. I'm from Canada, so
Oh, you're Canadian. Okay.
Nice.
yeah.
Okay.
He's like the US light version with Trudeau.
I didn't think a
Jesus.
Canadian would be capable of this, actually. It's actually surprising. I wouldn't have expected that.
Let me ask you this. So you're saying you were not paid any real life money to carry out the attack. So the idea is anyone that subbed or gifted subs to you as a result of this Judgment Day execution, these are just people that are in favor of this having happened, yeah?
Well,
Incidental.
so, like, these players are going back into Nax after dying in Battlegrounds. Like, what do you think about that?
Huh.
Let me put it this way. I am happy we're getting official hardcore servers.
Am I the only person who like doesn't really think it matters that much?
It's gonna be so great because, dude, this is gonna inspire so many people. Again, if you're leaving a hardcore, you better wipe your guild. You better delete the titles off of anyone you can. You better make it happen, okay?
Like, I've always said before that, like, I think that, like, getting griefed and losing your character is, like, kind of cringe. It's, like, not really supposed to happen. So, like, if they go in and they do a battleground or something like that, like, why do battlegrounds count in the first place, right? It's just weird. I don't know. I think it's just, like, I think that people's rule system with Hardcore Classic is, like, very distorted.
On which there will be no appeals or resurrections.
You should be able to do BGs. Yeah, I think you should be able to.
You know, here's actually a great follow-up question. What are your plans for the upcoming official hardcore servers? Do you plan...
If you're doing BGs in Classic, you're just wasting your time, okay? You do not deserve to live. You are the problem that our boy Violin fought against, okay?
on future Judgment Days on the official hardcore servers?
No, so I actually, like, absolutely not. I plan on leading the Horde. I have an entire army that will follow me there. Like, right now, I'm currently managing 2 Nax raids on White Mane Era. We started doing Nax with people literally in green gear a month ago. Like, we're doing an hour,
Nice.
20-minute Nax, and we started from nothing, and we'll be doing
Wow.
some 60-minute runs soon. Like, we're the best and fastest guild on Era, and like, it took other guilds 2 years to get where we are now. Like, we're gonna roll Horde, and you know, we're gonna crush it over there.
Yeah, Horde.
What would you say to the thousands, perhaps even millions of people that are tuning in right now
Billions.
that are condemning your actions, thinking that you should be banned for what is allegedly griefing in their mind? What would you say to those people?
True.
Well, it's not griefing. Like, that's the thing. Like, what I did was not griefing.
Dude, this is exactly like the U.S. elections. It is the most secure thing in the universe because there is no way to ever prove that U.S. elections can ever be, you know, hacked or whatever, unless Trump wins again, which will be definitely a hack. You know, there's no way to prove that U.S. elections can ever be hacked. So, you know, it's the same with griefing. You know, you got this person changing all the printers in the Republican majority areas so they can't vote Republican. He intentionally enters the printers, changes it so the votes don't count, and he then admits it that he did it and changed it. Do you think that's interference in elections in America? No, obviously not. Unless he specifically states that he did that with the intention of not just, interfering in the election. If he says that, he's still fine. But if he says that he specifically intended to interfere with one person in the election, then only then it's election interference. So you see, this person cannot be a griefer unless he admits that he griefed with the intention to grief, that he thought of griefing before the grief.
Like I said,
America,
it's
boys.
Judgment Day. Like,
It's a very good point. Yeah, how could it be griefing if it's Judgment Day? Do you see kind of what you see the argument there? Because how could it be if it's something? How could it be one thing if it's something else?
We need more Judgment Days. That's true.
Yeah.
Honestly, it had to be done, and
Yeah,
anyone that experienced, like
Yeah,
anyone
it had
that
to happen.
experienced, like what was actually going on would understand. Like people from the outside.
Right. So it's like wasn't even griefing. Like honestly, like if anybody should get banned for griefing, it's the rest of the people in the guild
True.
because they're the ones that were not really playing.
I mean, this is so insane, honestly, if you think about it, because this person's mindset is perfect. He did the right thing. He is completely justified in doing this because they deserved it. This is so good.
Playing hardcore. They were the ones that were filing appeals and stuff. So like, if anybody should get banned, it should be them.
Yeah.
He's the only person that shouldn't get banned.
They just hear one side of the story. They just hear I'm a griefer and
Yeah.
they believe it, but it's just not true. It's not griefing.
Okay, so it's not griefing, but if it was, they deserved it. Is that what it is?
It's just Judgment Day. Like Alex Sensual was right, and all these guys were cheaters. Like there were a bunch of phonies, and someone had to do it.
Nice.
Somebody had to do it. And so really, it's
A
not. It was
hero.
like it was a force of nature. It needed to happen. Somebody was going to do it. Somebody needed to do it.
It might as well be him.
So is it really his fault for doing it when it was going to happen anyway?
Do you think Judgment Day having happened
Yeah.
empowers other because you're not a griefer. Do you think it empowers future griefers?
I mean, there's always going to be griefers out there. I mean, there's
But
probably
this
gonna
is
be
not
copycats
griefing.
that,
How can it empower griefing?
Regardless whether this happened, there's always people out there that are sick in the head and are going to try to ruin people's fun. But in the long run,
Yeah.
like guilds have learned their lesson. Like they can't cheat, or there will be consequences. So
True.
short term,
There it is. There it is.
maybe it had some negative impact, but long term, I really do believe it will save the community.
The
So he
savior.
basically, like, they died for everybody else to live. To see, like, and so what he's saying is that if your guild in hardcore is doing things that are unethical, wrong,
Objectively wrong, yes.
or immoral, it is not your option, but your responsibility to ruin the raid.
Makes sense.
It's like that is what, because it's not even really you doing it. It's just that it's happening.
Okay, and so I think we might have already kind of touched on this a little bit, but coming
He
off on the official
crucified them
hardcore
for the
servers,
rest
do you
of
think that this
humanity,
sort of
yes.
dungeon or raid griefing will continue to be a problem?
I don't think so. Like who, like people like to talk about like a long con or whatever, but like who's gonna invest that much time?
I
training
hope
people this
someone.
long with the intent to grief them. Like
Most of the time, I don't think that's what happens.
I
think
hope
what happens is
someone,
that somebody
because
gets
he
passed
did.
Over. Like, this is what happened with me one time. Is I did a GDKP raid, and the raid didn't go the way I wanted it to. So what I did is I tried to get paid twice from the guild, from the raid leader, and he wouldn't pay me twice. Because you know how you get in line, and like then they would trade you? Well, I got in line again. And so he didn't give me the money 2 times. And so then I went into trade chat and I started spamming that he was a scammer and they wouldn't give me any money. Eventually he paid me the second time. And why did I do this? Because the raid took too long. It pissed me off.
That makes sense.
We should have killed more bosses.
Yeah, this is why I always take the loot of the final boss in the dungeon. Because it's probably taking too long, or I deserve it anyway. It's gold. Like, these people are gonna forget about it anyway.
Didn't the guy was an idiot? Fuck him. Because fuck him. That's why. That's right. So whenever I joined the raid, I planned on just doing the GDKP and everything going well. But because of what happened,
Yeah, it's
my
like
priorities changed.
God told him to do it. True.
Yes, in the eyes of the law, yes, I have committed a great crime. But in the eyes of God, I am amongst him. Yep.
True.
I just don't see it personally. Like I mean, there's some sick people out there. I don't know, but I think I think we'll be fine on official servers.
And just to be clear, that's not what you did. You did not engage in a long con. This was not your.
But this is what I'm saying though. It's like the long con idea. That's the point. Is that, I wouldn't really do this to a guild. But if I
True heroes emerge when they are needed. They don't plan it. They just emerge. True warriors of the light emerge on demand.
didn't get Ash Condi, and like a hunter got it instead, at that point, it might be a different situation.
Plan from day one. You were just a man that had been pushed too
Yeah,
far
like
and
Ash's
broke.
Valar, yeah.
Oh man,
It-
push too
yeah,
far.
like I said, it was
Judgment
just
Day.
it was a fake hardcore. It wasn't real. The achievements were nothing. Like
Yeah.
The first guild to kill KT deserves to do it on an official server that is a regulated server. You can't cheat the rules.
Have you heard? I actually don't know if this is true. Have you heard this idea that this raid that you wiped the other day, that Judgment Day wiped the other day, they're just going to continue and go and try to kill KT? What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I think
Pussies.
it's ridiculous.
Corrupt complexity, corrupt admins, savior tiny violin, brought justice, crybaby hardcore players, Judgment Day, based Chad violin. I think that that's what they should have done.
So these people who got wiped, who lost their hardcore status, are not gonna remove their hardcore status or work around it, so they can finish it off because they feel wronged. I think our hero did the right thing. I think these people are far beyond saving at this point in that case. They probably all had already died at least 10 times over and are just cheaters. He did what needed to be done.
Like,
True.
they definitely should have. They should have said, listen, because it was how they reacted. Like, if this was me and it had happened to me, I would have just said, like, well, this is a grief. We're not going to count this one. It's not a real death. Let's just do it again tomorrow after we get buffs again.
Pussy.
And I would have just blown it up. Like, all right, guys, see you tomorrow. And that's it. So, like, the fact that they took it so seriously, I think, is what really made the community hate them. How's that a grief? It was a grief. Guys, it was a fucking grief. He obviously was. That's what he was doing. This is my perspective, is that the spirit of a hardcore game is that you can only die to things that are your fault. And I would, if I thought somebody got griefed, I would not hold the death against them. I would not. That's
Casual bullshit.
That's where I stand on the topic. Now, we're never going to get appeals in hardcore official, so it doesn't really matter. But that's where I would stand. If I think somebody got griefed and they died to a person with malicious intent, then I wouldn't count the death against them. Because if I did, then I would be being used as a tool to exact somebody else's retribution, which is not necessarily what I would want to be. So that's why I would do that. However, it doesn't really matter what I want to do. Because at the end of the day, Blizzard is going to do it the way they want to do it. They don't give a fuck. So that's it. Yeah, they don't care. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing this stuff happening in official hardcore. This is going to be awesome.
Yep.
This is way more, what's more entertaining? Watching them kill a boss or watching them die on a boss?
Hey,
I don't
I
know. Why do
haven't
you watch
said
NASCAR?
that for a long time.
Like these players went into battlegrounds. The same people that said we're never going to do raid appeals. Now all of a sudden they're doing raid appeals. It just shows they don't care about the spirit of vanilla. Like,
Yeah, I disagree with this, like, on a fundamental level. I think that dying in a battleground isn't the same as dying out in the open world or in a raid. Like, I don't think that they're the same thing. It's a completely different function of the game.
That's true.
But sure. It's like saying logging out is...
But then again, I think if you do PvP in Classic, unironically, I think you definitely are mentally deficient. So, it's kind of your fault to begin with, okay? And, you shouldn't be maybe playing the game if you're mentally, deficient. Maybe you should seek help or something. Again, PvP in Classic is only for the faint of brain.
dying because your character disappears. Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
first of all, you're appealing a death, a raid death that they claim is griefing, and then they step into battlegrounds and they die 20 times in battlegrounds. Like,
yeah,
like how can these players sleep at night knowing that
Yeah,
they
exactly.
died.
How can they even sleep at night doing this? It's fun for viewers like you, but for the players dying
Bruh, in the eyes of God, they have forsaken themselves. It's true, though.
from griefers, it's not fun. They want to die how it's intended by mistakes. Well, they did make a mistake. They made a mistake by playing a game that's managed by a company that has a hands-off policy on everything. You made a mistake by playing a Blizzard game and expecting it to be anything less than a joke. Anything more than a joke, excuse me.
Like OTK's sexual harassment policies. Good times. I couldn't resist. It was right there. I'm
Like,
sorry.
just by going on and playing that realm at all, you are a fucking idiot.
20 times in a battleground.
What are your thoughts on the current Petri Flask meta?
Uh-oh.
Obviously. Bad.
Uh-oh. He's not gonna like this one.
Come on, go.
I honestly, like, I think it's kind of, like... So I don't mind Petri Flask,
I
but
actually don't. I don't think Petri Flasks are problematic at all. I don't mind them at all. I think they're fine.
the thing that I don't
Oh,
like
that's
is you can
such
leave the broken
bull.
and
He
magic.
just doesn't want to delete. He's being fucking weak. He literally is currently looking at his clitoris and saying all of those words. Oh my god,
Like,
come on.
teleported,
Yeah, I think they're
to
fine.
your Hearthstone location. So I understand it's in the game. I'm not a big
Yeah.
fan of it, but I mean I understand if it's like an intended Blizzard mechanic. Like I understand that it's totally fine to use it. Like I honestly have no problem with like Bubble Hearth or anything. Like
Yeah.
if you can do it in the game, like it's fine for people to use it.
Okay, and so presumably you chose Four Horsemen specifically because of the way that Petri Flask interacts with the stacking debuffs, right? Was that part of your judgment here?
Mm-hmm.
Special
Yeah,
interactions?
The chain beam is GG's. It was all calculated.
Of course it was.
Okay. And once again, so what are your personal plans for the upcoming hardcore servers?
Like I said, I'm going to lead the Horde. I'm going to bring my army over there, and you know, it's going to be it's going to be challenging, obviously, on Horde side, but we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna try to clear as much content as we can.
Yeah, I mean, so he's just really trying to have fun in hardcore WoW. He's not trying to have fun in appeal core WoW.
Nah, he's trying to have fun in the true hardcore spirit. Wow.
Quickly, considering you died during Judgment Day as well, have you deleted your hardcore character on Classic Era?
Yes, I have.
It's over.
There it is.
The hero that we didn't deserve.
Because I saw a
Because
screenshot.
remember what happened with Jesus? Because that Jesus also had to die to cleanse the sins of mankind. And then he left this world.
Yeah,
You
but
could
then
say his
he
character was
rests,
deleted.
though.
Do you remember that?
Where Calamity had invited you to actually continue on in Naxxramas with them.
I think she was just memeing, but yeah, like that character's deleted. To be honest, I might transfer the character to Whitemane. Like, it doesn't matter. It's
walk in the
that whole
halls of
server
heaven.
to me is just like a fake hardcore server
Yeah.
at this point.
Let me ask you this. Considering that you have sort of a known... well, let me ask you first another question. I'm seeing clips of you where you're purging world buffs, you're multi-boxing 9 or 10. How many accounts do you multi-box?
I had, I think I would stream about 16 accounts at the same time.
Jesus.
They were, like, it wasn't
Why?
using software. Like, it wasn't using, like, input software when I was multi-boxing it.
Okay, so would you consider that to be griefing?
No, it's it's literally an intended mechanic. Like, it's world PvP. Like, there's zero griefing with, it's an intended Blizzard mechanic, so absolutely not.
I would say it's clearly not, because Kevin Jordan said that it was not intentional for some world buffs to be magic and other ones not to be.
Who is
There
Kevin
was no
Jordan?
real intent. It was
Wait. He can't say that wasn't intentional. The game is out and some of them are and some of them aren't. How can you say it's not intentional when it's clearly that way?
completely unintended. But Blizzard, the thing is, though, Blizzard could have changed it.
But they
all
didn't.
they needed to do is go into the files and remove the magic modifier on that world buff.
They are afraid.
Did they do that? The answer is no. They didn't even try.
True.
And since they didn't change it, it became a thing. Yes, Blizzard intended on making the game easily griefable. This was their design. Blizzard wanted Judgment Day. You pushed no changes. I pushed no changes as a foundation. You're completely right. But I don't think that it should have stayed no changes. Does that make sense? I think the game should have released with no changes and then adapted after that.
I think that's extremely large clitoris way of saying that. Well, I first thought the game's I was wrong, but I'm not gonna admit I was wrong. Anyone with a brain knew that the game needed changes from the very start. Okay. Everyone with an IQ higher than a toaster oven that's set on fire knew that that's going to be the case. So, saying, oh, I wanted the game to be no changes at the start, but later it's going to be changes, it is, again, the loose poose way of saying, I'm wrong, but I'm going to be afraid to admit it.
Yeah, is that hard for you to understand? Maybe it is. But yeah. They wouldn't do that because it takes away from the true classic experience. Did people? I don't think people purged world buffs back in vanilla WoW, did they?
Probably
I don't
some
think
did.
so. I don't even think that like world buffs were hardly even a thing. Unless like I didn't even know about world buffs hardly in vanilla WoW. Yeah, that wasn't happening.
Okay. Is there something that you would consider to be griefing? What is an example of griefing?
Appealing a hardcore character death.
True. It's funny though. Go. Tell me.
Give me a second. I guess like okay, I'll give you. I guess the example I can think of is like if you're stealing gold in a GDKP, like that's griefing. Like maybe you're like the master looter and you run away with like 200,000 gold. That's
Obviously, you run away with that.
Yeah, sure. No, I think it's fair. I think it's also maybe you could just say like, this is not your take, but it would have been fair to say I don't think anything is griefing, right? That's a fair opinion. I know people that have that opinion also.
Yeah.
All right. I'm being asked to quickly ask you, what is your affiliation with the guild Frontier? Which is, and for those in the chat that don't know, Frontier is a guild that is racing for hardcore world first. Everything I think on the upcoming hardcore
Wow,
series. I heard
that's
that
gonna
you
be
were in
so
Frontier, but now you're
cool.
not. So what is your relationship to them?
My opinion with griefing, what is griefing? It's doing anything that is intentionally trying to disrupt the gameplay experience of another person against their consent in a way that's not intended by the game.
Boo! Wait, and does that actually save it? Does that actually save it? I'm not sure. Not intended by the game, but everything in the game is intended by the... Okay, so his not intended by the game doesn't actually mean anything, because anything you can do in the game is inherently, by definition, intended to be done because it's doable. So, intended in the game doesn't actually mean anything, that's just word salad, obviously. So, anything that actually prevents a player from experiencing the game. So, someone kills the quest NPC that you want to kill before you. So, that is griefing in Asmongold's eyes.
That's just generally what I think griefing is.
Like I'll be honest, they booted me, and I mean I don't blame them. Like my original plan for hardcore was to roll on alliance and push for like world first clears, but
Paladins are better.
yeah,
Makes
like I said,
sense.
I got booted, and I mean it is what it is. I mean I would never expect them to bring me to a raid after that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
obviously.
you were kicked from Frontier as a result of the Four Horsemen.
And you remember what happened with Jesus again, is that originally people welcomed Jesus on Good Friday. They welcomed him.
The fuck is a
sorry,
Good
Ash
Friday?
Wednesday. They welcomed him with open
What
arms.
is Ash Wednesday?
They loved him. They thought he was amazing. They thought he was great. And then
The dude could turn water into wine. Yeah, they thought he was great in a time when getting drunk was the literal only leisure activity and being a genetic alcoholic wasn't even considered bad. Yeah, obviously people loved him. But you know who didn't love him? The wine mafia. That's right. They didn't like the competition.
after he had to hold on to his ideals and his integrity and uphold the values that he was sent by God to represent, the people
Free wine, yeah.
hated him.
Based situation.
Yeah, exactly.
But you said you've got a horde army, and so those people on the horde are presumably totally willing to continue playing with you.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Puritans.
The horde
Like-
sticks together.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, I've been playing, you know, from private servers, classic WoW, SOM, So I mean, I've always had a pretty big following.
Who's doing the
you know,
random
you know,
noises?
I have a bunch of loyal soldiers that they want to play the next fresh with me. So
Let me ask you this. Even
How?
though you might not consider the sort of account multi-boxing dispelling situation as technically griefing, I think a lot of people would.
Not yet.
So,
What's
as an extension
doing
of
the
that, people
random
are sort of asking this
sounds?
question, scratching their heads. Why would Hardcore Elite invite you to their guild and have you tank bosses for them, given that sort of gameplay history? Do you think that's a fair question, or could you maybe shed insight on that?
well, like I was a good tank. Like I was actively helping the guild.
Why?
I do believe that we only got that far because I was helping them. Like not
Bruh.
only in the actual raids, but like outside the raids as well. Like with the log reviews, teaching players how.
Dude, why would you ever need log reviews? That's such a fucking thing in Classic. No, seriously, get your numbers to what it is, purple, red, or whatever it is, the closer to 100. That's so stupid. Like, come on, every class has a 2-button rotation. It's kind of hard to mess it up.
Teaching them their rotation. How important raid debuffs are. So. I mean, I was an asset to the raid, inside the raids and outside.
So one point made initially is that you're saying this raid was sort of in shambles prior to you stepping in, that their debuffs were sloppy, their buffs were sloppy, everything, their spread sheeting was terrible. Is that your take?
Well, yeah. So, for example, like when I first started
Who's
playing with them,
doing that? I don't understand. Who? I don't think it's Asmon because of his reaction.
for Fairy Fire on the boss. Like the
Well, it's
Druids
kind of
did not
annoying.
understand like how important that armor debuff is. Like that's one of if you have 20 melee in the raid, like that's a very important debuff. The Warlocks are like letting like Curse of Elements fall off for like long periods of time. Like no one was tracking that stuff. No one was tracking Fairy Fire. They refused to
How did
use
they not
improved
do
exposed
that?
armor, and it just didn't make sense to me. Like I'm telling them, like guys, we need improved exposed armor. Like why are we not running this? Like we have 6 rogues in the raid, and it was just I had to fight with them. It's just some cope excuse about threat. It's like you're play alliance, you have salvation. Like we need these important raid debuffs. The faster the boss dies, the less risk there is for someone dying in the raid. You need to burn the
Not
bosses
yet.
down ASAP.
So someone might even be able to make the argument, if they're to believe the story, that the only reason the Hardcore Elite made it to 4 Horsemen at all was because of your guidance and oversight.
Yes. Yes, it's again. He's raising the cows up. You've got to feed them. You got to bring them out on the range. Let them eat the grass. Spend the time out in the sun. Grow up. Get big.
Maddie.
And then you take them to the slaughterhouse. That's just how it is.
Yeah, 100%. Like I don't think they would have gone that far without me. Like they wouldn't even have had Fairy Fire up on any of the
Yep.
bosses in Nax. And that's when stuff starts to get hard. That's when typically guilds are farming the older content for like months and months, and we didn't have the same gear levels. Like, yeah, without my help, like there's no way we would have made it that far.
So I guess if that's the case, one might even say that Hardcore Elite.
Is Fairy Fire maybe like 1% damage? I'm not even sure, but I'm pretty sure all of these extra exposed armor things is like, don't they add like up to absolutely nothing, by the way? Isn't that just the elitist mentality of, doing a 1 hour raid to 10 seconds faster?
Is lucky to even have a Judgment Day because you're the one that brought them that far.
That's true. Yeah, they would have never been in this position to begin with if it wasn't for him. So why could they be mad at something that he gave them whenever they wouldn't have never even had it?
Makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
They were lucky.
Who knows how far they would have made it without me? Like,
True.
I played a very key role as the third tank. Like
The Lord giveth and the Lord
people
taketh
ask, like,
away.
Why did they put me
Third
to start
tank?
on Celiac? Well, I was their third tank. They trusted me. Like,
Yep.
it's a no-brainer to put me on Celiac.
It's just what makes sense.
All right. I think I've asked you all the questions that I've wanted to ask. Are there any maybe final thoughts to the chat or the people tuning in that you would like to express before we kind of part ways?
Yeah, like I just want everyone to know that I'm still playing Scriblio with Calamity.
Well, that's good to know.
He didn't even know how to respond.
I actually thought of one final question. What would you say? I already asked you what you would say to the people in the chat, the billions of people around the world tuning in right now. What would you say to the 36 hardcore elite raiders that are presumably very upset at you? What would you say to those people?
Like I understand they have every right to be upset with me. Like, but I don't think like they aren't all upset. Like some are actually thanking me.
Yes!
Thanking him. Where
That's what I wanted to hear. They shouldn't be upset. As time goes, they are gonna learn that I was right and that they should be thanking me for my actions. Like a true messiah. Now that's the stuff that I wanted to hear.
Who's thanking him? Who is doing this?
He showed them the light.
Obviously
Everyone
some of them
should be
are upset
doing
with
it.
what happened, and that's their choice. Like I said, I can show you the screenshots after.
Oh my
Some of these
God.
players are, they actually want to play with me in the next fresh.
Yeah.
This is something I haven't seen. Maybe you would know this. Have any of these 36 people come out and publicly defended you?
Probably not. Oh. That's a no, I'm assuming. Interesting.
Fuck, I honestly, I don't know. I haven't really seen much besides the Calamity Asmongold interview.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Besides that, I couldn't tell you.
What
No,
is
that's
that?
fair. I mean, you could imagine if someone, on that raid team was happy with what you said, or sorry, with what you did. If they were to defend it, maybe they would be socially ostracized, so they might just keep that between the two of you and not publicly speak on it. You mentioned
Makes
the Calamity Asmongold interview. I have not seen that yet. Is there anything that was brought up in that interview that you disagree with, or if you want to add any more
What is
notes or commentary
Calamity?
to that while we're still here?
Oh, that's his guild.
No, I think, I mean, basically what Calamity said on the interview, I told you. She just kind of talked about how, I was a big part of the raid for a year and how we played Scriblio together. But besides that, I mean,
Is that it?
Look at the guy in chat. You ain't gonna press him at all, stay safe? You okay with this? Let's see what his logs are in my chat.
Make a splash. Dude, people who write in
He's
Twitch
got logs in my
are
chat.
insane.
Okay.
Is he not gonna show it? Is it nothing interesting?
No, he doesn't. Like he's. No, it just He just talks about classic WoW. That's it. No, it's nothing exciting.
disagree with it.
It's just a classic WoW boomer.
Okay. One final question, because the chat is mad that I'm not going hard enough on you.
One guy.
Over the last 3 days,
Dude.
have you taken every mirror out of your house because you can't stand to look at yourself anymore?
No, not at all. I don't regret what happened. Like I said,
Bruh, he put in extra mirrors because of this incident. It's amazing. Well, anyway, I think that's pretty much it. I don't know. It doesn't look like there's anything more interesting here, so I'm going to call it here. Anyway, this was Quizzer Sin. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye!